Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, there's been another incident on Bourke Street. Now, if you'll recall, a few years ago, back in 2017, there was an incident where 6 people were killed. A driver with mental issues and political issues, I believe, basically decided to drive up and down the street, up and down Bourke Street, trying to run people over, and eventually ended up in a bit of a standoff with the police, which basically the whole city witnessed. And one of the people who was killed was a restaurateur who ran a restaurant just at near the corner of Spring Street and Bourke Street. And everyone knew him. I mean, I met him, everyone met him. Kylie visited when she came last to give the family condolences because, everyone knew this guy. So it sort of affected the whole city. And it seems like it's happened again. Now, like I said, it looked like an accident. It just looked like a car had crashed into another car and at a tram stop. But it's coming out that the guy who was the driver apparently had a history. He was known to the police. He had a history. Now, whether it was a history of mental illness or a history of political issues, I'm not sure which it was. But if you look at the video of him being arrested, he's sitting on the top of his car in all white with no shoes, grandstanding basically before being dragged off. So I'm thinking this was not an accident. Now I think that's just, assumption at this point. I'm not sure. But basically he ploughed his car through a crowded tram stop with people waiting to get a tram and then hit another car, and the person in the car died. So I think multiple injuries, but 3 people seriously injured, and one person, the person who was in the car that he ended in basically, who he hit, is dead. Now, what can we do about this? I don't know, but I mean, I personally feel a strong attachment to Bourke Street because I've lived in Melbourne my entire adult life, and my tram line has always gone through Bourke Street. I started off living in Brunswick, and I would catch the I'm forgetting the tram line now. It was a few decades ago. Give me a break. But the tram that would go up Swanston Street and go through Bourke Street, and Bourke Street would always pretty much be my stop. In the middle of the mall, and for a while there was like the screen across from there, so that was my stop. And then 15 years ago, I moved to this area, Northcote, Thornbury, and that. And I got on the 86, which would go through Bourke Street, up Bourke Street, and then turn up Spring Street. And basically, I would usually catch it from, Bourke Street Mall again, or up at Russell Street, because I've been here so long, the tram stations have changed. They used to be on one side of the street, and now one is on one side and one is on the other side, so they're different from how they used to be. And sometimes because there was a DVD store, which I don't know if it's still there, that used to be just near the corner of Spring Street, I'd often walk up there, go there, and that would be my last stop. And then I'd catch the tram from this, I think the same stop where this happened, because there's 2 stops, one near Russell Street and one near Spring Street. And I'm not sure which it actually was, because I was too busy looking at the footage at the pedestrians on the road. I wasn't looking at the buildings around it, so I'm not sure. I think it was closer to Russell Street, so it's the one further down. But those are the tram stops I normally catch when I'm in the city. And that's like my line. And I'm just really familiar with Bourke Street. So it's just kind of weird. It kind of feels like, it was sort of, so. So apparently the problem here is that police spend most of their time dealing with people with mental illness because mental health is underfunded. So instead of people getting treatment and intervention when they need it, they end up getting in trouble, and then the police end up having to deal with it, and they're not necessarily trained to deal with it, so they don't necessarily handle it the best. It's not necessarily their fault, and then they get the blame for it. And the people who are getting, are saving the money and cutting the budgets get away with it, basically. We focus on the police, we focus on the mentally ill, and we forget that this is not an issue that isn't known. It's not like we don't know that there's, people that need help and they need resources and facilities. But a while ago, we just decided, hey, we can save that money, put them out on the street and let the police deal with it. That's basically what's been happening for the last couple of decades. It's very sad because this apparently was preventable because this guy was known to the police. He was known to have issues. Now, whether this, like I said, I'm assuming it's mental health. Everyone's talking mental health. But it could have been a political thing. He could have done this for some other reason. But it's unclear at this point. Like I said, there's video of him being dragged off by the police, but you can't see him making any speeches or anything. He's on top of his car. He's dressed in all white, which just something about that seems suspicious to me. I don't know what that was. He had no shoes on. He just looked, I'm not going to use the C word, but, you know, cray-cray adjacent. But yeah, so I'm going to go. I've been talking for 5 minutes. A little rattled because it's Bourke Street. It's happened again. I don't think it's an accident. It looked like that at first, and I wasn't really worried about it. But now I'm looking at it going, oh no. And I'm hoping this doesn't become a trend where every person who has an issue decides to just drive up Bourke Street and wipe people out to get some press and some attention. But we'll see what happens. But you know, bollards really can't stop it. You know, like what can we do if that's what people decide to do? It's I mean, but if we deal with mental health, maybe there won't be anyone wanting to do that. I don't know, but I just had to talk about it for a minute. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.